Yes guys, and welcome to another video. Now, as you can tell by the title and by the picture of this guy here, you might be thinking, who is that? And don't get me wrong, that is exactly what I said just a few days ago, but now I know. So I'm here to tell you. So there is some big news, and it did come out a few days ago, and I was going to wait for some more meaty reports to come out, or at least for it to be confirmed. But I thought, given that there's nothing going on at the moment, there's plenty of transfer rumours, which I don't want to keep throwing at you guys, because we're getting linked with a new player every 2 seconds. I've been making a new video every single day, and as much as I love speculating about players, it does get pretty ridiculous when we're getting linked with 6 or 7 different players every day. Some of them very unrealistic, some of them not. Do you know what I mean? It's like a crazy season at the moment. It's that crazy time of year. But anyway, before we do get into it and we do have a conversation about this bloke here, if you can hit the like button for me, it's massively, massively appreciated. And we are very, very close to 17,000 subscribers. So if you watch the videos regularly and you do enjoy, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It's really appreciated. And don't worry, guys, there's going to be so much more content going into the season. It's just that weird time of year where things haven't quite kicked off with the transfer window yet. The rumours are a bit daft. So we will be getting more content and more regularly, so don't worry about that. Anyway, so this guy here, he was linked with us not so long ago. Who is he, first and foremost? He goes by the name of Florent Gasolfi, or Gasolfi. You know I'm going to pronounce his last name wrong. We'll probably learn it at a later date, potentially anyway. But now, who is he? So he has generally been in the role, I think he was formerly a football player. However, he has worked as a director of football, generally with the likes of Lens, Nice, and most recently, Roma. And he's just left Roma. Now, there are reports that he has agreed with Christian Speakman to join him at Sunderland as our new director of football. So he'll be working alongside Christian Speakman. And what is very exciting about this is not only does he have some great experience across Europe, is the reports coming out of big journalists, Fab Romano, one of them, suggesting that he has turned down the likes of Juventus, Fiorentina, and last but not least, Newcastle, which is probably one of the reasons I wanted to make this video in the first place. I mean, whether this ends up happening or not, I don't know, but just reading that's fantastic. And obviously, Sky Sports North East reporter Keith Dhannoo, he very conveniently left out that when he did report that Sunderland were set to announce Gasolfi as our new sporting director, or our new director of football, should I say. He did fail to mention that he had rejected Newcastle, whereas every other reporter mentioned it. So I just find that good, and it just shows where we're going. Do you know what I mean? It might just, the project that we've got might be more exciting to him more than the other clubs that he's seen. Of course, the likes of Juventus, Fiorentina, the colossal clubs. But he might just like the sound of the project, the way that we're going, and to get someone like this on board before we do start bringing in players, before we do approach the Premier League season. I like the thought of Christian and KLD trying to make the club, just from the outside perspective, a lot better and function better and more smoothly as a Premier League club with this bloke's experience going into a Premier League season, as opposed to just splashing money willy-nilly on a load of players and just hoping that something happens. To get someone like this with the experience around Europe as well, and we are generally being linked with a lot of European players as well, so that can only be seen as a positive. So it's really exciting for me. It's really exciting. I know it isn't a big star signing player like a striker or an exciting winger or whatever, or 20 million signing, you know what I mean? But I find it very interesting, this one. It's one to keep an eye on, absolutely. I will quickly go through a list of maybe a few players that we have been linked with, just to sort of tickle that itch of speculating about certain players. So most recently we've been linked with Clement Bischoff. I believe he could play as a left back or a midfielder. He actually played for Denmark under 21 yesterday and got himself a goal. Looked very impressive indeed. And that kind of rolls into the next sort of rumour as well, that Dennis Serkin is apparently high on the transfer list at Spurs. Of course, he was formerly at Spurs. He did used to have a buyback clause, which now isn't in place. We don't need to worry about that, so we will be able to get a decent fee for him if that is the case. But I do really like Dennis Serkin. However, like everyone knows, his injury record is pretty poor, but when you do get a Dennis Serkin on form, particularly going forward, I think he's absolutely fantastic, and his aerial ability from corners, set pieces, in an attacking scenario is absolutely second to none. For a lad that isn't, you know, the biggest in the world, he does have a good leap on him. He can score goals and he can threaten, so I do really like him. But if we are going to replace him, this lad here, Clement Bischoff, it seems like a very decent indeed replacement, albeit someone who's very young, only 19 years of age. But like I said, I saw bits of him last night, and he was very, very good. So that is an exciting one. We've also been linked with a striker, or sort of a centre forward, Van Aert, striker for Dynamo Kiev. I believe over the last 3 seasons, when you have a look at his stats, I believe he's 22, 23 years of age now, but he scored sort of, I think it was like 17, 18 goals last season, 15 before that, 12 before that, and always got a good handful of assists as well, of assists, should I say. So he looks like a good striker to go for, but I believe their asking price has been like 20 odd million. I think there might be a release clause in there, but apparently their president is saying that we're going to try and ask for more than the release clause does ask for, which isn't the way a release clause works, mate. So I'm not too sure about that one, but we have been heavily linked with him. I've seen bits and pieces of him, and he does look very good. I've seen a lot of people comparing him to Rusyn. Rusyn's stats weren't anywhere near as good as that prior to coming to Sunderland in the Championship, but it's one to keep an eye out as well. There has been, like I said, random players here and there, different defenders. We were recently linked with Cresswell as well, of course, formerly of, I think it was Leeds, Millwall, and he's been playing abroad recently, and he had an outstanding season last season at Toulouse. As far as I'm aware, he had a very good season anyway. It's not like I watch them regularly, but apparently had a very good standout season. Still very young. He's currently playing for the England under 21s now, isn't he? And I do like the look of him. He is a big brick shit house. He's decent with the ball at his feet, but he is just one of those. He loves a crunching challenge. He's a big brute, and I think someone like him alongside Dan Ballard would be fantastic, but it'll be a hell of a price we'd have to pay for him, I would imagine, be given his nationality and his age. That always it does function into an asking price. But like I said, there's just been loads. I could sit here and go on for ages, but there's been a lot. But the actual concrete sort of reports we are getting are about this bloke here. So let me know what you think about that. Are you excited about that? I think it's a great start. Yes, of course, it's better once we start seeing players come to the club. That's the main thing. That's what you want to see in the transfer window. But to see something like this, and it's such a statement of intent from Christian Spieterman and Kirill Louis-Dreyfus as well, to go for someone like this when he was touted to be going to the likes of Juventus, Fiorentina, on smaller clubs, it's nice to have that link, and it seems that it is going to go ahead. Whether it does or not, I might have egg on my face, but I thought it's just a bit of news to give you guys. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. Any suggestions in terms of signings? Who would you like to go for? Any of the sort of handful of players that I mentioned, would you like to see them come on board? Let me know as well. But if you enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe if you do. Take care, stay jammy. How are the lads? Keep the faith.